Hey, how you doing? I'm back, ready to do some narc slaying. Gotta put down these damn monsters. Gotta put down these damn shadows. Yeah, not talking about it was, it's part of my shadow. It's or shadows, because for many years I was told that nobody wants to hear that. You keep that to yourself. So, um, you know, I delayed about it because, yeah, because of not wanting to bother people with my issues. But I realize now that, after somebody suggested it in the comments, again, see what happens when you leave your comments? They make a difference. Your feedback, because if it wasn't for Star Motivator 888, thank you, by the way, I wouldn't be talking about these things. I brought it up before, in another series that I made of videos that I called Why I Am the Way I Am, basically explaining why I am the way I am, But so I went over that kind of stuff a little bit, but definitely this whole issue with narcissists, since I'm so familiar with the subject, I should be talking about it a lot more, my occurrences, my experiences, because through my experiences, the lessons I've learned from it, you all can find some validation, and you can also find, something to relate with, and someone to relate with, and understand that you're not alone in this. There's a lot of us that have gone through it, and we understand you. And if you're anything like me, that when you talked about it, nobody believes you, we believe you. Again, there's special characteristics that people who have gone through narcissistic abuse demonstrate. They're the scars. And one of us starts to speak about it, it's like we're hearing about ourselves. Like for instance, what I brought up in my, I don't know if it was the last one or the one before, about these conversations that go in circles. When the narcissist just tries to confuse you, well, it's you, and then they try to turn it around on you, like you're the narcissist, like you're the one that, again, that is causing all the trouble, when it's essentially them, because that's what they love. They love chaos. And don't you just want peace? I mean, half the time it's just like, please just stop. And we usually just go, okay, whatever you want, because we just don't want that chaos anymore. We want peace. We want to feel calm, and these people cannot. That's like they're allergic to it. That all they want is chaos, to dominate people, to run people's lives, to get their way all the time. And I brought up, because we need to understand this generational patterns, because we need to understand why we keep getting attracted to the same people all the time, and until we don't come to terms with these things, understand that these are generational patterns, we won't stop getting, attracting or going towards the same types of people, And in my case, as far as I can, remember or be aware of, is my grandmother, my mom's mom. She was a horrible monster. And till this date, everybody holds her as this dearest, dear woman. But she wasn't. She was a nasty, nasty woman who insulted everybody. But because she abused everybody, she had everybody, basically wrapped around her little finger. Yeah. Every Sunday they had to go. All her kids had to go visit her. And if my grandfather was around, like me, he came to visit, on that particular time, usually during Holy Week, or Lent, he would come to visit, and that's when I would be my happiest because I was a little boy and my grandpa was this big bear of a man, that I would try to hug and you couldn't go around him because his big gut was so big, but I love hugging him because he was such a dear dude. He was a great guy. And that's what I've noticed too, especially as a guy. All the nice men that I have known in my life, they remind me of my grandfather. But a lot of them are tied up to these narcissistic people, Again, in this case, narcissistic women. Again, they got it from someone else, somewhere along the line in their families, And again, in my case, it was my mom's mom. My mom really just wanted to run away from home. She wanted out of that house. Why? Because of my grandmother. So she ended up hooking up. I shouldn't say that. She met my father. Turned out my father was exactly like her mom. See? Maybe it wasn't another woman. No, but it was another narcissist, but in the form of a dude, of my father, a man. So she went from one way of abuse into another one, and it was the same. And for her, it must have been such a comfortable transition, just like it was for me when I went from my father to my ex-wife. It was an easy transition. Like, oh, I don't need to work on myself. She doesn't want me to change. Why? Because she was exactly the same way. I mean, I remember one of the fondest memories that I had from, hanging out with my family, my dad and my siblings and my mom, was sitting and watching like America's Funniest Videos, America's Funniest Home Videos, and just ripping on people. Or it didn't have to be the America's Funniest Home Videos. You had to just be watching television and would just be ripping people apart on television. Oh, look how she loves, oh, she's such and such, and everybody would be laughing and everybody would be having a great time, but we were being so damn toxic. And it got to the point where it's like, is this right? I mean, I started to snap out of it, because it's like, all we do is, be mean, but that's how my dad talked to us, and that's how my grandmother talked to everybody, it's just with insults. So it's really important to know where this stuff is coming from, because if it comes from generations prior to you, that means that crap is, dug in there into your cells, So even if you don't want to, you keep attracting these people. That's why, I made that other video a couple of videos ago that said get rid of the garbage, because that's the garbage we need to get rid of. Otherwise, we keep running into the same types of people, and because you're lovable, you deserve love, you deserve all the attention that you deserve. You deserve somebody that treats you, that understands how hard it is to find somebody like you and that values you, So, but then we can get so timid and fearful that, I don't want to get hurt again, like all men are alike or all women are the same, Right now we have a big problem with all this type of thing where men are generalizing women and women are generalizing men. They ask men, oh, women, they're all gold diggers. They ask women, it's like, we don't need men. And it's just like this war. We should all strive to find the path of the middle. Regardless. Yeah, I will be talking about spirituality because all of this boils down to spirituality. In the background is always spirit, and we all have to consider that, because if spirit is in everything, and spirit and everything boils down to spirit and also originates from spirit, that means that somewhere along the line we get lost, and it's all this side choosing, left, right, man, woman, red, blue, this religion, that style, this style, and it's always sides, So I remember when Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had their issues. A lot of women sided with Amber because she was a woman, and they all believed her. But turns out that she was lying her ass off, because that's what narcissistic people do, is to control people, control the narrative, control people's perceptions about what's going on, about themselves, because they always want to appear spick and span, they want to appear like, full of grace when they are not. We have another one in the in the celebrity circus, Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. I mean, I'm watching this, and it's like I'm watching Harry, and I'm going, oh my God, this guy reminds me of me. Where you're speaking and she jumps in, it's just she wants to dominate everything. She wants to be front page. She wants to be front stage. She wants to be, the focus of attention all the time. And meanwhile, people like Harry, people like me, people like my grandfather, my father, and my ex-father-in-law, people, my friend, we're so nice that we're just, okay, sweetie, just go ahead. You can have the floor. But this is exactly what they want. They get high on it, And I'm sure, and watching my mom, I know that that's what she did a lot. Because you know what? When my father moved to the United States, because he had to do it because he was going to come and work for us, to send us money and all that. It was just so he could play single here in the United States. This is where he got his girlfriend. But anyway, while we were there, my mom acted like a lioness because he was no longer in the picture. He was here in the United States, and mom was back there in Mexico, taking care of things. And I get the chills just thinking about how strong my mother was, because there was nobody to just trample on her power, on her expression, on her handling business. And my mom is so smart, so capable, that when he was around, he had to run everything, and everything would get spoiled because, he was, when you do things with force, when you force your way through everything, you're always making mistakes. And I mean, I noticed that growing up. I was like, here we go again. So why do we always have to follow him? It's no wonder I would pull my mom aside and I'd be like, leave him. And my mom would be like, don't do that. Don't say that. Because I would see that, after a while you start to catch on. It's like, wait a second, mom is really strong. She doesn't really need this dude. And this dude is so abusive. I mean, think of how scary it is for a little kid. We're having dinner. My mom says something. He finds it offensive all of a sudden, and then he starts at her. What do you say? And then this whole vibe just falls upon the whole table, upon the whole family. And it's scary when your father, who is ready to flip at any moment, it's scary because it gives a child no sense of stability. To this date, I'm still looking for stability. You see how these people kind of, I could blame all the problems in the world to these sons of bitches. Because essentially, when you look around, I mean, all these strong men that are wanting to rule and run things, I'm not going to mention any names, but we're surrounded by these a-holes. They're all the same. They're all the same. They're all the same types. And this is what I'm saying. A lot of people say, oh, you just keep throwing that word around, narcissist, that. It's like, no, it's not being thrown around like it's a fad, like it's some kind of a trend. No, it's because we have so many of them. So why do we have so many of them? Because it's narcissists running things, and that they make everybody get with the program, you know. And again, if it's they run the rhetoric, they run the versions that are, you know, mostly practice, you know. I mean, it's in everything. It's in everything, in religion and how we live our lives. Is how we work every day. And if you decide to work in a different way, all of a sudden you're, you know, and that's when the confusion comes, because you know in your heart that your way is is different or better. You know, you see the fallacy in their ways because it's forceful, because it's full of, you know, struggle, and there are more ways than that. You know, again, it's a left brainer type of approach. It's forceful, it's sharp, it's sometimes harsh. It doesn't work unless it's combined with the soft, you know, the whole yin and yang thing. And this is what, you know, I mentioned that earlier, you know, about the left and the right, the blue and the red, man, women. Right now, people fighting amongst themselves. Why? Because of these people who just know how to run things by force. And there are other ways. There are the ways of gentleness, the ways of softness, the ways that we learn from reading the Tao Te Ching or practicing Buddhism or meditating, you know, always the approach of yield and survive, bend and survive, like the bamboo, right? Gets blown by the wind, it just bends and boom, springs right back. Beautiful. The way of water, for instance, you know, again, soft, but sometimes it can get really strong, you know. But in essence, when you look, you know, think of water as the softest substance in the world, yet it can penetrate the hardest surfaces. You know, like when you trying to accomplish a goal, you know, the approach, the usual approach that these people always suggest is like, go on and go, and if you don't, you're procrastinating, and essentially they end up making you feel bad because you're not doing it their way. But you realize that, wait a second, if I take the soft approach, I could be swiping at a big oak tree every day of my life. But with all these little tiny swipes, that thing is going to tumble, it's going to crumble, it's going to calm down eventually. I don't have to go at it and, you know, try to do it in one hit, in one swipe. But I can take the soft approach and just do it constantly. Small attempts, constantly get the job done, and you don't go crazy, you know, while trying to do it. But again, it's just to show you the difference between their approach, a narcissistic approach, because it is a harsh approach, because it's a my way or the highway approach, you know, and then us being, you know, the people who have to deal with these people have a softer approach that is never tried. What I'm trying to say here is that their way is not the best way. And just because they want to force it upon us doesn't mean we have to yield or, you know, do as they say. In essence, what I'm saying is that when you find yourself believing that you're not capable and you're thinking about leaving these people behind, they're telling you, you won't be able to manage without us. About me, what are you going to do? You will. You will. And you will show them all wrong. Trust me when I tell you this. When I first left my father, that's what I heard. And then I ended up with my ex, okay? But I ended up in a new place. You know, when they told me that that was gonna be the end for me. Okay. Turned out she was also a narcissist, again, because of the generational patterns. When I left that house, I ended up back with my parents, you know, but I ended up in another place. Like my ex was saying that that was going to be the end for me. I wasn't going to be able to manage. Anyway, the point, I'm still here. I'm still here. You ain't going to keep me down. Why? Because my approach is that of water. My approach is that soft approach. That I don't have to be forceful about things. and only graceful. Oh, really? You want me to leave, or you want me to? You don't think I could manage? Okay. And you leave very quietly, very gracefully, and you show them, not with shouting, not with going up against them and arguing. You very gracefully show them your strength, because they like to make a big show out of everything. Your show is the show that you're going to be a star of. It's going to be magnificent because it's full of grace, full of the good stuff they didn't appreciate. So I know that you will say, okay, I'll show you. These people like to make it look that their way is the only way, and that because we see the world in a different way, that it's not going to work out for us. That we're not going to be successful, we're not going to amount to anything without them. But essentially, in the end, you're going to realize that getting rid of them was the best decision of your life. You're going to find out that the reason why these people came into your life was to dig the lioness out of you. How else could you have done it if you weren't motivated to do it? I mean, because again, what's the need, right? But because these people came into your life, you found out who you really were, who you really are, how much strength you have. So don't fret. If you need to leave, this is how it's. I'm gonna bring it up every episode. Every time I have one of these, I make a video. I'm gonna say leave, like I used to tell my mom, leave him. Leave. It's the best choice you will ever make. Because again, just like with Tina Turner, she showed her strength once she left. Again, she showed her strength by leaving, but then she shined. She was able to shine brighter than ever after she left that big old bulk of nothing. Just always just always throwing a monkey wrench into everything that she was doing, always stealing from her talents, always draining her energy. Once he was out of the picture, once she decided, I'm leaving this a-hole, she shined brighter than she had ever done. And the same will happen to you. Leave him. Leave her. You deserve better. Okay? Catch you later. Take it easy, lemon squeezy.